can I get some peanuts? Wait, $5? What do you mean it's $5? This is my own private plane. Ah, ridiculous. What's going on, Cardfighters? How are you? So, I hope you guys liked that last section of Cardfight Con. And the next question I want to ask you guys is, I rep my clan. Do you? Well, my clan is possibly the best clan. Kagero, baby. Burn everything, restanding 15 times. Love it. But let's move on to the next section. I rep my clan. Do you? Can I get some water? What do you mean water's $5 too? Yeah.
What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today. So this is more of the short panel about my content, and of course a little bit of a clan dedication too as well. So I actually provide two different sources of content. I actually have my YouTube channel, and then I have my blogs that I'm a part of with too as well. So there's 3 blogs that I'm involved with. I'll start off with the one that's actually my own personal blog, and that's actually the Grand Blue one, and so that's called Rogue of the 7 Seas. If you want to go to the website, it's rogueofthe7seas.wordpress.com, so you can actually take a look at that point. There's a lot of content related to Grand Blue in that, especially since Grand Blue is a very in-depth clan as well as that. I talk about card spotlights, I talk about Cardfighter spotlights, so people that have actually topped with Grand Blue as well, and see what is their mindset behind some of the card choices they have. We have deck spotlights where there's different variants of Grand Blue and why people are playing certain plays, or different strategies with those decks as well. I also have even other sources that you can go to. Maybe you want to see deck lists that have been winning, or good sources of media such as YouTube, where they actually have a lot of Grand Blue context specifically for that. So you can actually just go through that, and it's really a source of reference for all the sources of media. Now onto the second blog that I'm involved with is actually Force of the Ocean. That is the Aquaforce blog, and it's really the very similar pattern where it's a central hub for that, where it goes over deck analysis, card analysis. It also has some deck profiles, some people that also have top, and I've interviewed there as well, so you can see that content as well. And then moving that tie together, I'm also part of Access Vanguard, the website. And so this platform is different. This idea was actually created by Cypher. He wanted to bring a selective few amount of people that specialize and are very passionate about different clans. So it's not just one clan. There's a lot of clans in Vanguard, and so if we can get a lot of those people that are passionate and are willing to provide content, that's really what the platform is for. And that's where the idea of the deck study came from, like the guides, basically where you see like a deck, it's really a guide for you to actually build a certain deck in a certain clan, and why some things are played and why some things aren't that great, or it really has that in-depth level that people want to see. It's like, wow, this makes a lot of sense, and it saves me a lot of time. And you may even know me or heard of my name because of the Night Rose Standard Deck Study Guide. That honestly got a lot of attention, especially with different fight. For example, he saw the guide, he was like, this is amazing, I can't wait to start building Night Rose, and he made his own deck profile and everything. He even mentioned me again. It got so much attention that it actually attracted overseas. I'm actually in the United States, into the Chicagoland area around here, and it got the attention of like Japanese players. So that's really cool. Masha, who reached out to me in email, he asked if he can translate it to Japanese, and he did. And so my deck study article is actually in Japanese too, and then somebody in Vietnam translated to Vietnamese, and I was just like, wait, what? So it's really cool. So you may know me from that, and really that idea came from Access Vanguard, specifically Cypher and everybody that's involved in that project. That guy was made with the help with those two as well, with others in the group, and play testing and all that kind of stuff. So I do not take all the credit. It's a group effort. And so those blogs are designed to give you good quality content as well. And so just to wrap things up in a nice little package, if you're looking for experience, for mindset, for why the reasons that we play certain cards, some combo strategies, some key plays, that extra mile, that extra goodness, the blogs are forceoftheocean.wordpress.com, rogueofthe7seas.wordpress.com, and then of course Access Vanguard. You can Google us. This is Commander Jaime signing out.
Welcome everybody to the Force of the Ocean Cardfight Con panel. I'll be your host, Zaee. We have Cardfight King, Commander Jaime, Senpai,
Splish Splash,
Historia, and Wave Nation. Without further ado, we might as well just jump into the first question, because it's going to be all about Aquaforce. So, what was your favorite thing about Aquaforce? Anybody, just jump in.
Water.
Wet ass semen.
Anything has to do with water, I'm in it. Splish splash all day, baby. Let's go.
Honestly, first thing that drew me to it was just the naval aesthetic and Maelstrom, OG Maelstrom, like BTO8.
I
say
think it
the
was.
same thing. It was the. Go ahead.
No, you do yours first.
All right. So basically, the big thing that got me into it was also what Senpai was saying, like the naval thing. I just looked at it, and I was like, this art just looks so amazing. Like, I think Cardfight's the only game that's ever got me excited about Marines. I've just never been really into Marines, and the art was like, whoa.
I agree. Yeah. For me, it started out with a character from G, Jaime Alvarez, and is like very close to my name, which is Jaime Alvarez, and it's just like, that's kind of cool. And then seeing like Favas and Lambros is like, I can see myself playing this clan and embracing this multi-attack battle formation strategy that I just like to be analytical. I like to calculate things. And if I could do that in a deck, that's awesome. So that was my main favorite thing about it.
I remember exactly what drew me in. It was the original 8K vanilla Tier Knight Theo. The second I saw that guy, I nut, and I was like, "This is going to be the clan that I play." Because I was playing Vermilion, and I was like, "It's time for something new and something spicy." And then Theo was just all on the fucking ship with his sniper, and he's like, "Bah!" It's like, I need that shit right now.
For me, I definitely would have to say the aesthetic. That's also partially going to tie into my answer for the next question, but the aesthetic is the first thing that drew me in. The playstyle also, like the sequential attacks, planning out your entire turn from like the outset of when you start into your next turn. I just love the analytical aspect of the deck. So definitely the aesthetic at first, the playstyle came second. Did you guys have an aha or like a single moment where you were like, this is my clan?
Yeah.
For me, it was I played the trial deck because before I was playing Vermilion, and then when I picked up the trial deck and then I played it, I was like, "Whoa, this is actually like really fun." And it was the first time where I ever had a deck that I kind of latched onto because all the other decks it was like, "Well, this is fun, but it's just not really me." Because I was just a Kagero hopper basically, right? Until that deck was like, "Dude, I can get behind this playstyle. This is definitely my playstyle."
Yeah, for me it was kind of like, I've been playing this since BTO8, it's BTO9 time. Then Glory Maelstrom came, and it was like, oh, this deck can do this. All right, yeah, I'll stick with this. I like it. So, and then Glory Maelstrom, it didn't hurt that it looked really, really cool. So I was like, yeah, Basil helped a lot because Basil was just like, oh, you can't do anything. And then Diamantes, his big brother, is like, I'm the same thing but bigger. And I was like, this is perfect. I love this.
For me,
For
with,
me,
go ahead, Cardfight King.
no, you.
Okay, thank you. For me, is that it was kind of along the same lines with the trial deck with Favas. But really, what did it for me was when Lambros came out, and with Aquaforce in the past, I had interest with it, like in Lemon Break era or the Legion era, but I never actually dived into it because you do so much commitment to the field, but you're not rewarded as much as certain other clans that do much less than you, and they're rewarded much more. But with Lambros, it was something that you got rewarded to get into the fourth battle, and you got more attacks, and they're bigger, and it just made it really actually fun to play and actually win some games too in the competitive scene.
Mine was when I was coming out of Yu-Gi-Oh, I was a frog player, and mostly I played mermaids towards the end of my career in Yu-Gi-Oh. Someone showed me a picture of Maelstrom, and I thought that was like a new mermaid or something, but then it was like Maelstrom. I was like, oh snap, this game looks amazing. But my real aha moment was after my very first tournament I played in. Like I had knee surgery, so I didn't really get to play in set 8. I just got to collect the cards, and it took me until set 9 to complete the deck. I was a broke college student, obviously. Worked at GameStop. And after my first tournament, I realized that I need to stop playing this deck as if it was a rush deck, like a lot of the early deck profiles and videos people were putting out. I needed to play with this deck a lot more tempo orientated. And so when I took that mindset into my next tournament, like, 4 battles, make sure that I get rid of how many cards are in their hand rather than trying to rush their damage. I ended up I ended up topping my very first, my second ever tournament because I was like, if I had to just change my mindset with it. And I was like, this is my shit.
That's awesome.
Got some Thavas juice. Sorry, guys.
My aha moment with this clan was very apparent. First of all, shout out to my boy Juan, who got me and all of my friends into Vanguard, like as a collective group. He stayed up big time on like the cards when they were being revealed in Japan on the Wikipedia page, and I remember I was floating between a lot of clans after Vermilion lost its identity and Eradicators were becoming a thing because I didn't like Eradicators. And the second that Genovius was revealed, like we messaged each other at the exact same time, and we were both like, "I'm building this, fuck you." And then, like, I was just like, "But fuck you more." So then I got to build it. And Genovius was like my first like main, like this is my actual like, this is my thing now. This is gonna be my thing from now on because Vermilion just stopped getting support. I needed something new, and that was there for me. And Ripples. I get very emotional. Ripples just always been there.
That's awesome, bro.
I do love Ripple.
Who doesn't?
For me, all right. So to give you background, I bought into Vanguard in 2014, but I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh competitively at this point in time. So I was coming out of the Magician format and Pepe, Draco Pals, and I was feeling pretty burnt out with Yu-Gi-Oh. And I've been keeping tabs on Vanguard because one of my favorite manga, Seraph of the End, was adapted into anime. And right around the time when they released the promotional art for the anime, I remember that was the first time I saw Lambros' teaser. And like how similar he looked. And I was just like, I love this aesthetic, so that's what drew me into Vanguard. So I was keeping tabs on it. And I was just generally unhappy with the state of the Yu-Gi-Oh metagame. And so I started playing Vanguard. And the more I watched like gameplay of this Lambros deck, I didn't have it yet. Like I still had Cat Risers, and that was all I had at the time. But like I did a couple trades, ended up flipping the Cat Risers into my Aquaforce deck. The first time I played it, all my friends were like, "You're gonna get bored," but it's 2020 now, and I'm still playing Aquas, so I didn't get bored.
That's awesome. You guys remind me of my Yu-Gi-Oh days too, because when I started playing Aquaforce, I was playing Necross, which was another water deck too. So it was pretty cool. Just seeing other Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Actually, why I sold to get into Vanguard. So
Oh god.
to get 3 Vanguard decks and a large sum of cash because I sold it. So I pulled Necross, and then I sold it the weekend I pulled it. I topped an OTS, which I got my Nats invite from that. Sold it the next day for almost like 1,000 worth of value. So that was really good.
It was really expensive. Yeah.
Money. Yeah. And mine was high rarity too.
Hey, Yu-Gi-Oh players got money, man.
Yeah, man.
No, they don't. It all goes to those
Account for
decks.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, some Vanguard players have money too. All these Shadow Mains, damn dude.
Oh.
But
Sure.
what was the primary motivator for you to play or main one clan? Was it money? Was it the avatar?
The primary motivator for me to play just one clan was I was always looking for that one clan, and that's one of the things I really like about Vanguard is that the early days of Vanguard, like way before the like kind of like the beginning, first few sets in, like things were great because each clan had its own identity. And so when you picked up a clan that had a play style and an identity that matched the way you wanted to play, it was perfect. And that's exactly what Aquaforce did for me, and that's why I want to play it most of the time. Like even if I could play meta and I could win with meta, it makes me feel more satisfied if I win with Aquaforce, even if it's not meta.
Agreed. It kind of ties into what I felt like was my primary motivator too, is that I was looking for that favorite clan too, and beforehand I was playing Nubatama and Genesis, and I played decks like the whole Binding Control, with Kuchuri Kongo, and then of course into like Genesis with Minerva restanding, Idriso with the crit and Garbage Trick. There were fun decks, but for me, I just didn't feel like it was the entire piece all combined together. And then once with Lambros and Davos, and of course the character Jaime, it was just what I was looking for, and it took me basically looking and investing into a third clan to actually find what I consider one of my favorite clans of all time.
So for me, it was just a dare from locals, because at the time, when I started, I played, I transitioned from Yu-Gi-Oh. I was playing Fire Fist. They just announced the dragon, the E-Dragons, and I was like, oh, well, time to jump out of this game. I see where this is going. Yeah, and then I was like, they said something about the end. Like, the end was getting ready to come out. It was the weekend before that sneak. And so I was like, oh, okay, that dragon looks cool. Let me try that. So I sold all my Fire Fist stuff. I sold all my E-Hero stuff. I sold all, basically anything that had any value with Yu-Gi-Oh! Went into Vanguard, bought the Ezel box, and then saved enough to do the sneak for BTO 5. And I pulled 2 ends, regular, triple rare, and then the SP end. And then I was like, okay, this deck is cool, but it just still feels like Yu-Gi-Oh! And then a couple months go by, I try Spikes. The first qualifier for teams comes by. I qualify with Spikes, and my 2 teammates playing OTT and Grand Blue. And then, right before, the actual thing was supposed to go on in Columbus, when we used to have it, at, not Origins, but it was somewhere else before that. And then I was like, oh, okay, what's this Aquaforce? Oh, they attack a bunch of times. I'm like, that sounds cool. I like that. And then one of my friends was like, no balls, you're never going to win a locals with that. I'm going to be the better Aquaforce player. I'm like, no balls, huh? Because that's basically our I dare you bet at locals. And so I did it, and I stuck with it, and it was just I love it so much. And it was so different from anything else in almost any card game that I had experienced at that time. And so that was it for me. It was just a bet to top locals, and then top ARGs, and then try to top a regional. Still working on that one, that last one though.
For me, basically, it was that so like I said, when I got into it, I just wanted to really play one clan, but a lot of it was because, when I first initially got into it, I wanted to play something water related, and I saw Maelstrom, but I didn't know what I was doing. So when I sold my Mermail deck, I picked up Grand Blue and Dark Irregular, and the pirate aesthetic I love because I'm a huge One Piece fan, but the deck and just playing with it, even if it was a janky build or whatever, Grand Blue was janky anyways, but it just didn't feel good. But then when I played with Aquaforce, I got into the anime late, but seeing Leon playing Aquaforce, I was like, okay, I'm slowly but surely piecing this deck together, and I'm understanding more. Even though there are people who let me play with a complete MLB deck and whatnot, the play styles just seem so bland with some other things. And when I played with Aquaforce, I had one. It was literally just when I had one Basil and one Maelstrom. I was struggling, but I was having fun struggling because I was piecing. That's when perfect guards were $30 a pop, and my teammate pulled 4 perfect guards out of 7 packs for Aquaforce, because the place that we got cards from, somehow they mixed up all their cards they wanted to do packs. They mixed them all up, and he ended up pulling 4 of them for me over the course of 2 months. But still, it was that's pretty much it, man. I just wanted to just stick with the clan, keep learning with it, keep winning with it. And you're right, like Jay said, it was the old era of Vanguard. I really felt a connection to the clan, not trying to be weedy, but felt a connection to the clan as it has its own identity. I'm going to play with its own identity, and can your identity beat mine? That's really what attracted me to it and wanted me to keep playing with it.
Amen.
I think my main motivator for playing only Aquaforce was brain stimulation. I think Vanguard stripped down is a very basic concept, and a lot of clans play off of that and go for consistency. You guys know what the butterfly effect is, right? I think that the butterfly effect has a huge role in how Aquaforce plays out. There's so many different options. Literally, the number of the battle that you decide to swing with a card can make the biggest difference in how your turn goes, as opposed to other clans where it's really just like the number that you're swinging for that's going to be different depending on. So like the thing is, I liked having to think about a million different things. I like having to think about what I'm going to do offensively while I'm guarding, because there's so much shit that you have to like take into consideration, as opposed to like, not to shit on Royal Paladins. Actually, yeah, to shit on Royal Paladins. All they really do is just call units out of the deck and then turn cardboard sideways. And like that is so boring to me. And there's a lot of clans that like are very similar on that level of boringness. And Aquaforce is one of the few clans that like, you got to think about this a little bit. And like your decisions can be so vastly different from someone else piloting the exact same deck. And it can make such a difference in the outcome of the game. And I like that a lot. So that's why I stuck with it.
Same here.
Yeah.
All right, Jaime?
Already mentioned it. I went first for a second.
For me, it's hard actually. I don't really know what led me to want to particularly just main or like mostly play Aquaforce. I know that I played almost every clan in the game before I finally settled down on Aquas, but it's not that it's the most complex deck I play, because I definitely played way more complex, way more intricate decks, but for me I think the nuances in like Aquaforce, like you can visibly tell the difference between an okay to decent Aquaforce pilot from a very skilled Aquaforce pilot, just in the way they sequence their attacks, how they do their turn, the level of commitment they have, the way they resolve their skills, even some things, for instance, like the Stacia Lambros combo. I taught that to Cardfight King. He didn't even know about that. So when you boost Lambros with Stacia, it becomes a 42k column, and then you restand a 19k beater, and sometimes that's actually just better than swinging the Stacia straight up. It's just little things like that, like, can make the difference between an Aquaforce player, you know, being alright and being somebody that everybody knows. And that's something that I really appreciate with Aquaforce, because there's not a lot of decks where you really get the opportunity to showcase your talent as a player, because like what's been said a lot is a lot of these decks kind of play themselves. You know, there's not a lot of difficulty to playing them. So I feel like Aquaforce is one of those few clans where you can see the difference.
For sure.
I want Stacia back. I want her back.
It's definitely a not so forgiving deck, and it really makes you be deliberate on the cards you actually commit on the board.
Yeah, even if you don't like Aquaforce, I'd recommend like just picking it up, because it makes you better at the game. It really does.
Yeah.
Most like dedicated Aquaforce pilots I know are some of the best players in Vanguard I've ever met.
Yeah, because like the thing that I've really loved about playing with Aquaforce over the years is just like it helps you learn how to guard better and when to use certain cards or when to not throw them down, not to be just like an idiot, even though I do that every single time I play test. But I do that with a sense of, okay, if I do this is what will happen, because you got to know like when to block.
The Aquaforce can't cheat. We can't just call something out of the deck or just superior guard from somewhere, you know, like.
It's also very rigid in deck building. It's one of the few clans where like you have to have high ratios of cards you want to see, or you won't see them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So fitting stuff can get incredibly difficult with that in mind.
We
But
win by skill, not by
top
speed.
decks so satisfying in Aquaforce, though, when you're like, man, I really need that fucking restander. You just fucking rip an Adelaide on a Lambros turn, bah, slam that bitch down on the board. Feels so good.
Yes.
It's like the heart of the cards.
So, with that said,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
yes. I was gonna say, with that said though, I mean, I know the answer to this, but for everybody watching, do you enjoy playing other clans on occasion, or are you hardcore one clan?
We can skip this question, really.
No.
So for me, I was kind of heavily into Novas before because I played Blouse, and I really enjoyed Blouse. Like it was fun. I just loved being able to, if you hit, restand a column, and then Dancing Wolf would get like +3. And so I've always had Novas as a second deck. And so I played Aquaforce exclusively. But then like when things came out like Illuminal, and then later we got like Ethics Buster. Oh, Ethics Buster was like, okay, now this is definitely my second clan. And like I remember later on in G era, they brought back a stride that made Ethics Buster good again, and I'm like, oh, I can play Ethics Buster in G era again. Like I was like so excited. Like just the thing that makes Nova so fun is that it does the same thing as Aquaforce does, only it does it with bigger power. And instead of a bunch of little small attacks, it does a bunch of attacks with big power or decent skills. Like, and so basically it was like playing the exact same deck, but playing it in a different way. And that's why it was a great second clan for me, because it feels like I'm just playing with one hand with Aquaforce, and then the other deck is just my other hand, right?
So I play Shadows. I play the Overlord clan. I play Ezel. Let's see. Well, old Ezel, like BTO 6 Ezel. That's pretty much about it. Oh, and Grand Blue, because Grand Blue is great. Jaime showed me the light with that one. But yeah, that's yes. It is the way by the sea. Ah, yes, the sea. But anyway, that's an inside locals joke. But yeah, it's. I mean, those are just my clans that I played. I didn't really play. Oh, and Narukami. Narukami was great for me.
I don't. So.
Wait. Before Darkfight King goes, I already know what he's gonna say.
He made me knock my glasses off.
For those of you who don't know, Cardfight King has a secret alias when Aquaforce isn't doing too hot. It's Darkfight King. He forsakes the sea for the darkness.
Okay. No, I will explain that. I like Darkfight. I didn't personally buy them, but I would vehemently play my friends' decks that had Darkfight, and I would give them pointers on how I would build it if I were to invest in it. I was always on the edge, but I never did. Now, for me personally, I want to say I exclusively play Aquaforce, but that's a lie. I played really it was just Aquaforce until set 13 when we got Tetra Drive, and then we got my first round draft pick. I call him Chaos Breaker Dragon. And Link Jokers really became my second clan.
You're disgusting.
I love Nebula Lord, and then Chaos Breaker just took it off top for me. I literally played just Link Joker and Aquaforce, mostly Aquaforce, but I won a lot with Link Joker too, throughout the normal series into Legion. Aquaforce was literally unplayable if you wanted to do well in the tournament, or at least go 2-2 in the tournament, whatever it is. It was almost unplayable, so I had to play Blaster Joker, and I only got to play it in like one major tournament anyways. But I really did that up until Night Rose came out. And Night Rose to me, and Jaime maybe, I don't know, Jaime maybe not. Night Rose really gave Grand Blue their identity when she came out in G, because I know 7 Seas or not, but like Night Rose just gave you so much control over the drop zone with everything, Skeleton Cannoneer, Garage, all that. And so I picked up Rose then, but I still mostly played Aquaforce throughout, everything. But those really were the only 2 clans that I pretty much picked up and playing. And then into V series, I picked up, I was just so bored with everything else and certain things. I picked up other clans, but right now I mostly exclusively just play Aquaforce. Like that's all I carry with me, the locals and Night Rose. That's it.
that might be all you carry with you, but what are you playing?
On yet?
Okay, I do have a dark regular. Shut up.
All right. So other clans, I think I'll dabble from time to time. I mean, I realistically stick to only Aquaforce. Sorry, that's my dog. He's waking up in his cage.
What's up, dude?
Yeah, that's Duke. So I stick to Aquaforce almost exclusively. There was a period of time where I got tired of Aquaforce being a meme that just got destroyed by Denial Griffin in an Overlord format. So I picked up what the fuck was that clan? Oh yeah, Grand Blue. So I picked up 7 Seas and I actually played that quite a bit. 7 Seas was just like when I was having a bad day, I needed a hug, and 7 Seas could just like hold my hand, give me early draw power, call units, don't have to worry about them getting destroyed. Just I get free shit from the drop zone. It was just so nice. And like it was just it was something that you take for granted, you know? When you're playing Aquaforce, it's like, wait a minute, everything is so free when you're not playing Aquaforce. This is amazing.
I know exactly what summer you're talking about. That was such a good period for 7 Seas.
Yeah, dude, it was insane, bro. You would just like, Ripple Sea. I'm sorry, not Ripple Sea. What the hell was
Seas Banshee?
Yeah, Rough Seas Banshee. You had the crit that could move the soul and draw you cards, and you were just like, you called Ruin Shades to mill, and like you just have like so much free. Hey, relax. I might have to yell at him a little bit. But yeah, man, it was just a nice break from like having to guard and call cards from the same pool all game. So like Grand Blue was one of the clans that I was able to like play as well, and then also Nubatama pre Shiranui. So I played a lot of, like, I'm talking about like when there was no stride fodder for the clan yet, and I was playing like I was playing Kabuki Kongo, Kujikiri Kongo, with the weird strides that they had. That was a clan that I enjoyed as well because I played the Legion, and I remember like specifically there was this one game where this kid was playing Dark Irregulars, and like I had my Legion, I had my Counterblasts, and I had 2 copies of the Grade 2 in my hand and a copy of the Grade 3. I ripped 6 cards out of this bitch's hand and smacked him for game. And he was just like, "You can't just rip my cards out of my hand like that." And I was like, "Nah, read this shit. I can't." And that was a good time too. So Nubatama was fun. I feel like realistically, aside from playing 7 Seas when it was like dumpstering everything, I just really enjoy playing clans that are underappreciated and you can just catch people by surprise when they're not being respected and just clap them. But otherwise, it's just always Aquaforce. So yeah.
Brant, we coming back, boys. We coming back.
I hope not.
I can go. Did you want to mute yourself, Cody?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Wave Nation?
He already
That'd
did.
be a good idea.
Yeah. There we go. Awesome. For me, obviously 2 or 3 people have already mentioned it to me. Grand Blue has been my other main clan. And I do play Nubatama and Genesis as well. And so what really geared me to like Grand Blue, for example, was just like Cardfight King said, there is a format where Aquaforce wasn't doing so well with Denial Griffin being around. And competitively, you have to recognize as a player that the deck that you love so much playing may not be the best pick. And so you have to make that decision to potentially take a different deck. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And for me, it was Grand Blue because I felt like Denial Griffin at that point like didn't do anything to Grand Blue. Like, what are you going to do? Retire my stuff that I'm just going to revive during the battle phase or even in my main phase? Anyway, Grand Blue was just perfect with that matchup in mind going into tournaments. And honestly, I started out with 7 Seas, like the G era, not the Grade 1 7 Seas Rush, but then it eventually evolved into Night Rose. And Night Rose has been very good to me in a sense of actually a very stimulating deck and also learning some things from that clan and deck that I can apply to Aquaforce too, which leads into people can learn from different decks and still apply it to the decks that they love because there's some of those nuances that actually make a difference. And Grand Blue, you have to be really good with your resources, specifically like Counterblast and Soul Blast. Or Aquaforce, you had to be very good with your like hand and field resources. And it just kind of like meshed those together. So even though Grand Blue and Aquaforce were like different clans, they had some of those similarities that helped you as a player to apply in each of those decks at that point too. So with that, you know, I honestly dabble with Grand Blue for the most part. That I even make my own blog for Grand Blue, Rogue of the Seven Seas. I do have videos on YouTube as well, with Night Rose mainly.
Go watch that study guide, y'all. That study guide on Night Rose.
Yeah, that thing's
Yeah.
truth.
For
It's
those
the
that
Bible,
might know
man.
me, yeah, for those that might know me by the Night Rose standard deck study guide, that was, with the effort of everybody on the Discord, Force of the Ocean, and Axis Vanguard. You may know me from that because Different Fight, announced it because he was so excited to build Night Rose 2. He made his own deck profile. So, if that's something that you like to see more Grand Blue content, I definitely recommend the blog for sure.
Definitely. So, for me, I think I'm a bit more unique of this particular group of people because, well, everyone here will play meta from time to time. I am most likely to play meta of everyone here. I usually play every deck. I learn every deck. I like to go out of my way to know how decks work, to know why they're good. So I typically will actually play other things than Aquaforce a lot more often than a lot of these gentlemen in the call with me. But that said, anybody who knows me online mostly knows me for Aquaforce. But anybody who really knows me for one clan in particular, and that's Dark Regulars. I have a passion for this clan. It's actually the first clan I bought into when I identified I want to play Vanguard. And what did I want to buy? And the first thing I bought was Dark Regulars. I bought a full Amon deck, and I also bought a Sharad deck back then with the Gilderai. And it wasn't very good. It was pretty jank. It was during GBT4, so really, really jank. But I played the shit out of that deck. I loved it. I didn't even care that I was losing. To me, like, Soul is the most interesting thing in Vanguard. Decks that utilize the Soul, like, I love that shit. Genesis is another clan that a lot of people know me for. Dark Regulars and Genesis, honestly, are my passions. And right now in Premium, they're the only decks I'm playing. I'm only playing Gastion, I'm only playing Fender right now. Because that's just, like, how much these decks, like, resound with the way I want to play Vanguard. That said, though, anybody who knows me from a competitive standpoint knows me for my Luard. I played a lot of Shadows for almost Luard's entirety of his life cycle. And I brought Shadows to regionals, I think, 3 or 4 times. So I love that deck so much. A little less so for the standard deck, but I mean, it kind of started to feel a lot more complex once they took Superior Ride Engine out. So I did like what it ended up turning into, even if it was a little overbearing. So Genesis, Shadows, and Dark Regulars. And then the other clan that I really have like an intense love for is Gear Chronicle. I played a lot of Night Rose and a lot of Time Leap during 2017, 2018.
Oh yeah, that was the decks, that and Luard.
And Luard, yeah, those 3. And out of all 3 of the decks, even though I'd say out of all 3 of the decks, I was actually a better Night Rose pilot than the other 2, Time Leap was just a blast, and I never stopped loving how Gears played. I just didn't like ZTB. With the exception of Demiurge Turbo. That was honestly the most fun deck I've ever played in Vanguard in my life.
All those decks are so nasty. Night Rose just ran people over back then.
Oh, it was so gross. If you knew how to sequence it, like, you were like a god. People could not touch you. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of, like, the ZTB weight Chronojet Z at the end of the format, so I just stuck to my Luard. But, I mean, Gears is still probably one of my favorite standard clans. Really looking forward to future Gear Chronicle support because I do like standard Gears. It's one of the few standard decks I do actually really enjoy. So those clans mainly. So do you guys notice in the other clans you tend to play, do they tend to go for like a similar playstyle as Aquaforce or a different experience?
So for me with Novas, obviously they go basically for the same playstyle they just do. Something different, but I do also play some others that I really love, like my 4 main clans in order: Aquaforce, Novas, Nubatama, Great Nature. And the reason I picked up Great Nature was the same reason I picked up Novas, because Great Nature basically was a multi-attack Aquaforce, but with bigger power and gave you draw advantage. So when we had Aquaforce and it had got to the point where power creep with the next set, had made it that we couldn't win because if our opponent got a trigger, we were just done. Then I hopped on Great Nature and I was like, yeah, I'll do this. I'll get a bunch of Excel ones and then just check a front and win. Like, I'll get free units with Leo. Like, yeah, let's do this. And so just that as well, it's just, just is so much a good reason for playing Great Nature. And Nubatama, the whole reason I even wanted to play that was because at the beginning of the game, when they brought that out, like a few sets in, they only had 4 Nubatama cards. You couldn't even build a deck with it. And I loved Voidmaster so much, and I could not make a deck on it because you had to mix it with Kagero. And I was like, no, I don't want to mix it with Kagero. I want to play Nubatama, not Nubatama plus Kagero. And so later, when it became a clan and it started getting good, and then when they came out with Sukumaran and Giera, I was like, oh, get me into this now. I'm ready to finally do Nubatama. Like, if I had the money, I would literally pick up Shiranui right now. I love that deck. Like, just playing against it a few times on CFA is like, oh man, I picked this up in a heartbeat if I had money.
So, since everybody else is muted, like the other clans that I play, I just like going for multi-attack decks. If it has multi-attack in it, I will definitely play it. So, obviously, the end, I played the original Cross, when it first came out because it enabled some multi-attacks and fun with Legion. I played the end in the Cross deck. That was really fun. And I played Luard. Luard had multi-attacks if you did everything right with Morfessa, and you had the grade 1 that called out another grade 0, so you could make another 2 attacks after your initial 3. I love things that do multi-attacks. If it has multi-attacks, I'm gonna give it some attention because it'll just be like, oh, this is an Aquaforce except with blah blah blah. But yeah, that's pretty much my reasoning for playing any other clan if it does multi-attack.
Mine is based off of pure, I guess, pure interest in what the clan kind of does in a way. Not so much multi. I am attracted to anything that I feel I can play a tempo style with. I don't like pure. I actually don't. I really hate playing pure aggression, and I'm not a big fan of pure unadulterated control. I like the middle ground, if you play Magic or something like that, mid range or me for tempo kind of decks. And so the other decks I play, I want to kind of resemble that, but in Vanguard, throughout, Night Rose. I felt Night Rose was a really good tempo deck. Sometimes you can go hard with Night Rose, like real hard, especially with the version now. I mean, I play Standard Rose and I go hard with Navigator, but there's a lot of plays I can do, whether I go for draw or whether I go for pressure or something like that. It's really good, but that's kind of the type of style that I tend to want to go for. And I've said it in all of my videos since October of 2013. I believe Aquaforce is a true, tempo clan, is not a rush clan that a lot of people, unless you're playing Ripple Rush, then that's just a different story. But, that's what I kind of look for when I choose other clans. Now, in V-Series, I kind of screwed up with that, but, I don't play those decks anymore.
That's funny. That's awesome. For me,
looking at you, Pale Moon.
Nice. For me, it's honestly for two reasons. First is actually something different that I can still learn. One, because you can play Aquaforce and it's a great clan, but after a while you kind of want to try something different. And then the second thing, the more different types of decks that you get your hands on and actually start getting in the driver's seat with that, helps you actually compete at a better level because actually what they're trying to do and what they're trying to prevent, which gives you that edge on knowing that matchup so you can actually win your games. And so with that, Grand Blue was a whole drop zone, counterblast, soul blast, all that resource management, and that was that aspect. You got Nubatama with the hand control, with the Sure Stuff cards, and of course Shirane. I played Shirane as well, especially when it was GPT 14 days. I played that in ARG, and I won like first stride every time because Ren was just so really oppressive. I have Chaos just to know the Link Joker matchup way better for Aquaforce, for Grand Blue. And it taught me that there's some things as a Chaos player that are totally like in the opposite of the side of the spectrum. And it made me appreciate a little more of that control aspect. So now I know when I face it, it gives me that slight advantage and actually win as well. And then, of course, like what Zaee mentioned about the soul, Genesis is one of those decks that focuses on the soul for resources or for its units. And that also intrigued me. Especially right now with Fenrir and Regalia. It's just very fun to play them right now, especially with the new Fenrir Abuse, with the Mardic Stride and the Gleipnir. It's just really cool, and it's really fun. So for me, it was just trying something different so I don't get bored, but also I'm learning more about my matchups, so that way I do really well in my tournaments.
Cody?
So for me, when I play other clans, I tend to stay away from anything that multi-attacks or has weird patterns. I'm a purist, so like, if it's similar but it's not Aquaforce, I'm like, fuck, it's not Aquaforce, it's not the same. Get the fuck out of my hands. And then I need to go back to playing Aquaforce. So if I'm going to play a different clan, it's because it's something that's totally different and unique from Aquaforce and other things in the game, and it intrigues me and I want to try it. But at the end of the day, I'll always go back to the same thing, which is fourth battle. Well, I mean, now resting units. So, yeah.
Makes sense. All right, for me, I mean, outside of the tempo playstyle of Aquaforce, I'd like to think that I'm naturally a control player at heart. Every deck Every deck I like to play is definitely usually a combo, with the one exception of me liking Chaos a lot, which I play for a very, very long time. It was actually my first Vanguard deck too, by the way. Chaos Breaker, IZD Break Ride back in the day. But I play control in almost every other card game, and I also like to play combo. So the things I like to do, I love intricate combos, I love memorizing various different loops. I played Infernity for the longest time in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I played Pendulums, that shit's my jam. Like, long convoluted combo strings, I have to memorize all these different game states, I have to operate with like the slowness of margins. Oh, I didn't see perfect pieces, but I still have to pull it a win. Like, that's the stuff I love to play. I mean, standard DIs is not really where I'd like it to be, but back during BBT 06, like, that was just I played that deck for 8 months straight. The NLK Brufus deck, like, that was just so much fun to play. Been having a blast playing Himiko Yggdrasil. I messed around with some Fenrir in standard, but to be honest, I'm only looking at Fenrir in premium. And like, I loved Wiseman loop back in the day, even though it's a lot more dumbed down and less convoluted. Like, I still love the way it combos. That's just what speaks to me. So there is times when Aquaforce can combo. I mean, the most combo centric I think it's ever really been was definitely that brief period of time we got to test Zaee and Ripples. So that was something else. But no, the Riptide deck, like, I like it. It has a little bit of combos in it, so that's some fun that I had in premium for a while. But now that we're kind of going to standard plus builds, it's just more like, it's just the typical Aquaforce fix. I love the tempo playstyle, so it doesn't bug me. But I'm not playing Aquas. I love to play combo. You guys ever regret your decision to main one clan? Like, do you feel stuck?
Never have I ever thought that. Like, the only thing I slightly regret was way before V, was we have this problem as Aquaforce players. We get one good set and then we get one bad set, and it would keep going back and forth. So that's the only thing I don't like about being an Aquaforce player. Thankfully with V, we got a pretty decent amount of good sets. Like, they really didn't go back and forth a lot. I think like we maybe had like one bad set, if any. We had a lot of good stuff from V, and like that made me very happy to see that. It was just that I didn't appreciate it at the time, but Maelstrom was actually really, really good. And then Elijah knows, he taught me all the strats and like how you get the damage so that your opponent can't damage deny you, and I was like, whoa, like I definitely was not playing this right, and like, oh man, like that just changed everything for me.
Sometimes even just knowing like those little nuanced plays can be the difference maker in matches. Like, of course, we were so bad in our first set of V. It's like, but like realistically, yeah, we weren't in a great place, but we weren't as bad as what we were painted out to be. And people were intentionally giving themselves only playing naval games or not giving Maelstrom a real shot. But in regards to what you said, though, are you talking about G? Because if you're talking about Jira, we technically were meta 3 out of the 4 times we got support.
Oh
Yeah, I
no, I'm
think
talking
we only
about
had
way
one
before
G.
G. I'm
Yeah.
talking like
Oh, Legionnaire was
before
for the
Limit
ones.
Break. It's still like from the beginning of the very first trial deck, like up until like Limit Break. Because until we got Reverse Maelstrom, like we got a lot of bad stuff.
It definitely did us dirty with Legion, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Terrible. That's why I didn't
Yeah.
play during Legion.
I mean, we had
a
a
card for Aquaforce. I was like, eh.
no we had that Blue Wave Michael Legion. That's on my did a deck profile on it. It's so good. Why don't you guys go play that?
No.
Sorry.
No.
Can I ask you to shut your ass up?
Nah, man, you good.
I guess for me, with the whole being stuck in one clan, there's a lot of archetypes in Aquaforce. For a while, I dabbled with Favas and then went to Blue Wave, and Blue Wave was actually really fun, especially having
I love that.
multi-attack. Right, exactly, and having access to restanding Vanguards, that was fun too. And then Ripples became a thing when it was like the meta where you stay the grade 2 game, and then eventually, Odysseus got hit on the ban list, and then later on we got the V stuff, which had Maelstrom, then Ravon, and then we also have the new Fabulous retrain, and now we're gonna get the new retrain of Aleo. So I feel like there's enough archetypes to like kind of like cycle through Aquaforce and still have a good time.
I mean, I don't need to ask Wave Nation. He only plays Aquaforce.
I don't regret anything. I like playing Aquaforce. I love the clan. Like, if I had to say it, I'd say fuck every other clan. But as a player, you do recognize that there are periods in time when you kind of wish you're doing that. Like, I've gotten into arguments with other people who are clan loyalists. Not calling anybody out, but certain clans, you see that you've been a loyalist, you've played this clan for the longest amount of time, but you know that the clan has been bad until a certain point, in the game, and it's like, well, you say you're a career-long such and such player, I'm not going to take your opinion seriously. You invalidated yourself already. But I don't regret just playing Aquaforce and just being all about it. It's just, I think it's what Bushiro wanted, everybody to find their own thing and stick with it, give yourself an identity, and that's what Aquaforce has done. Aqua Life Baby, I already know, all day, every day.
Yep. All the New England Patriots fans can play Overlord because they know that they'll just always be good.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Except for that one time with the N in V.
Until they go to Miami.
Yeah, until they go to Miami and get smacked up.
Senpai, are you good to go?
Oh yeah, so I don't regret it at all, ever. No. Like, what is there to regret? Why would I regret having a great experience, meeting awesome people because of such, and just like doing what card games do and making more friends? Why would I regret that?
Respectable.
I mean, I could ask Wave Nation, but I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah, my
It's
answer to
probably
the first
hardcore.
question is no, and the answer to the second question is no. So there's that.
This man is the epitome of clan loyalty. So,
Nice.
me actually, this is probably going to shock you guys, but regret, no. Feel stuck, yes, many times. So there's a period of time where being an Aquaforce player was really tough. I remember I talked with Jaime a lot about this. I felt kind of lost with the direction of where to take the clan. So sometime after the period of when Time Leap blew up in NA, which was around like GB206, GB27, and when we got the G guards, like what was said previously, we couldn't deal with the Nile Griffin.
Right.
It was impossible. And even if Kagura wasn't the best deck, because it wasn't, technically Angels were, we couldn't deal with Angels either. Like, we were bad into Angels, we were bad into Kagura, we were bad into Gears. It's just like, there's just so many bad matchups that we couldn't deal with. Thabas didn't feel very good. Blue Wave still felt underwhelming. And then coming off of that, we got GBT09, which was probably the lowest point I've ever seen Aquaforce.
Agreed.
Blue Wave. We had to make do. We had to make do with what we got. And Blue Wave did come out a lot stronger out of that. So like, it took a couple months. I remember bitching with Jaime a lot about this too, but it took a couple months. I ended up giving up on Thabas and playing exclusively Blue Wave for a couple of months, and I told him like I was doing really well, and it was all fine and good until the GB8s, and then we got screwed again.
GB8 doesn't even exist. It's so fucking bad.
At this point in time, it was like it was just too. That was literally like the straw that broke the camel's back at that point. Like Blue Wave couldn't keep up anymore. Gear Chronicle just got header around. Like Blue Wave just was not playable. Thabas was a mess. So I went back and started experimenting with some really degenerate 16 crit Ripple Rush. And that even went for a while. And then 7 Runner. And it was just like, it was so hard to be an Aquaforce player at that time because it just felt like I couldn't play the clan at all. Like it just didn't have a spot in the meta. And then a lot of cool stuff ended up coming out. I ended up playing other decks, and like, you know, it got me through that rough patch. But like, that was a period of time where I definitely felt stuck, where I felt like there was no possible way I could push my creativity any further to find a way to make the clan playable.
I think during that period, I played a 16 crit Ripple deck that didn't have any grade 3s, and I just rogued my way through tournaments.
Dude, yeah, that's basically what I was doing until 7 Runner, but they're just so much better at it than us.
Yeah.
It was just...
Yeah, I remember playing the vanilla 10Ks in Thabas as a thing to try out, and 12 crit Thabas, and it's crazy. We just lose it.
We did.
Yeah, he'll probably come back in a second.
He'll hop back in.
Yeah.
So,
good thing we can edit this.
So that was like a massive point in time where I felt stuck, and then other than that, like the tail end of Jira, I felt relatively good with Aquaforce until V. My issues with Aquaforce and V have always largely been the same. They've never changed since the first set. My issues is they're taking away a lot of what makes Aquaforce good and dumbing it down to a point that I don't enjoy. Like the first set, that's whatever. You know, it wasn't the greatest, but it was doable. We could beat OTT, and to an extent, sometimes Angel Feather, but it wasn't super consistent. Those were like, by far and large, the best decks in the format. And then as more stuff came out, like that set, it became more and more apparent how bad that first set was as more stuff came out, and it basically culminated with Melody. And I just remember, like, I was like, I can't even do anything to this.
Well, Melody was in a class of its own, to be fair.
Yeah,
it was almost just... everyone felt like that against Melody.
And then
I hated that.
After
people
that,
would tell you, "Oh, don't get upset about it. Just like, oh, just rush it, and you can beat it." It's like, well, you can rush, but here's the problem: if you don't get the pieces to rush, then you can't win. So if you're a deck that can't rush, you lose. And if you're a deck that can rush early game, you can't get the pieces, you're screwed anyway.
The main issue is after that set, though, every support we got from that point on made us meta, but like the cost was of the clan feeling any bit fun whatsoever.
Dude, like, Glory Maelstrom made me want to fucking blow my brains out. I hated that card so much. I was like, this isn't even Aquaforce. Like this, you're turning it. What the fuck was that card? That was
Glory
not
was
Aquaforce.
Literally winning games from 3 damage if they didn't trigger, because he was just that strong. Like Damon, all those intricate, all those days we spent thinking of, you know, the damage denial, killing rearguard attack patterns with OG Mail, out the window. Second we got Glory, it was just literally just slam cards on the board, turn them sideways. Glory would win the game anyway.
I fucking hated it.
And then Revon was literally strap on your helmet, jump on your fucking bicycle, and we're gonna shoot to the moon.
Your tricycle, dude.
super degenerate playstyle. And like, don't get me wrong, like Glory was great, Revan is great, Thabas even right now is great. All 3 decks in general are great, but it's not fun. And right now I feel stuck. I don't enjoy playing Aquaforce in Standard. I don't like the way they keep dumbing down the clan. And it's frustrating. I don't really... I mean, Thavas is okay enough, I guess. But the problem is, it's like, it's only kind of fun because you have to run so many jank cards just to make it work to where it's kind of fun. Like, you would never play a card like Agrius in any other clan. Agius in any other clan. You have a Counterblast 1, rest 2 cards, gain 10k, you never play on anything else. But like, it's so janky and it's so necessary in Thavas that it kind of makes it fun.
It does, yeah.
But like not being able to run re-standards in Aquaforce, that hurt like a lot, especially to people like me that got OR title assaults. That was kind of a slap in the face.
Fortunately, it's necessary though to evolve the clan beyond title assault. The clan.
But when they stopped giving us things that could like boost units' power, I was like, fuck re-standards, bro. There's no reason to play this shit anymore. Like, it just felt so out of place. It was like I could poke twice, or I could do what the deck wants to do, and then
Cell
win the game.
circles are also largely part of the reason why we're kind of losing our identity.
Well,
in a sense.
that and also not needing to hit any number of battles for anything anymore. Like, there's no reason. Like, multi-attack, why? Why, when you could just play Force that goes wide?
Sure. And you know, I mean, it is good in a sense because Aquaforce has needed a more diverse playstyle than anything that we've ever had previously, which, you know, these new standard decks do give, but like, it's at the expense of a lot of things. And a lot of the skill was in conserving restands and stuff like that. A lot of the fun was in stacking your stuff on restandards, and that's just kind of gone now.
Yeah.
So I feel like whenever I look at standard Aquas, I'm just always kind of like left wanting more, you know? And it's weird to say this because I fucking hate Revon with the passion. Anybody who knows me knows I refuse to even buy Revon. I did not enjoy that whatsoever. But I'm looking forward to Valios, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit here. But, like, I'm looking forward to Valios because I feel like that might be the most Aquaforce like we've felt in a long time. And we found that. So that's
I agree.
Well, Davis just feels like kind of like a Force clan. You just swing for big numbers, and so then it's like I'm doing the exact same thing Force decks are doing, and like, why is an Excel deck doing this? Like, I'm supposed to be like multi-attacking, not swing for big numbers and some small, and then just getting another attack, which other clans can already do that are Force clans.
We're basically just Excel gears.
Yeah, pretty much.
It almost reminded me of
So
like
what are
trying
your
to
thoughts?
Oh, I was just gonna say it reminded me of
I was gonna say, what are your
Nightmare
thoughts
does it
on
better too. Yeah.
Does Nairos do it better though? I don't think so.
I guess
I mean,
better.
I'm sure you have
it's a
the
lot
dragon
easier to
combo.
do. It's a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
With Thavas, you have to have the right combo pieces, and it just takes more commitment.
I mean, arguably, you draw more and you get more attacks in Thavas, and Thavas can scale out of control if you don't beat it fast
With the
enough.
South Circles, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like if we ever get Pursuit Assault, that deck is fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, waiting for that card.
Well, since we're already talking about it, what are your thoughts on our most recent wave of support?
With Pursuit Assault, nutty as fuck. Insanely nutty.
Our stuff is locked behind. Like, the best grade 2 for Thavas is locked behind being a promo, which is Pursuit Assault. That card literally changes everything for Thavas for me. It scales in the late game. You get to draw at all points of the game. Thavas has a problem with, I can't rest enough cards. Well, this guy can rest 2, draw your card, and may top deck into that third card. You can rest 4, whatever it is, or you have Thavas' ability to rest. Like, it is a game-changing card that's just stuck behind it being a promo, and we do not know when we're going to get it because we haven't even gotten the Try 3 promos yet. But the other
we're getting
thing,
it. We're getting Ripple.
Right. I mean, but the other thing is with it is that, like, I feel like with the way the deck is that, and probably this is going to be a topic later, but I feel like when it comes to our attacks, certain clans we may have like a lot of attacks, but some other clans may have more valuable and get more out of their attacks. And I just go to, like, I look at Victor, like my teammate, everybody, people on my channel know him, Black Steve. He's a career Nova Grappler player, and with he has, like, it's like, okay, if I can get to Doe Sledge and I have Adamansky, you give me 3 open counter blasts or even 2, I can wreck you with 1 card. He's getting off of a lot of attacks like we do, but he has 1 card where he can just stack a crit on, and now he can swing at you multiple times, increasing in power, and then eventually getting to a guard manipulation. Whereas us, I'm like, we're getting on a lot of toes. Like a normal Thavis turn is like 14, 17, and Dennis is terrible, by the way. 14, 17, and then you have your big column attack, and then Lambros will swing with the triple drive, and he'll restand the column, but only give the column 10k. They could have easily given us his old ability to with a cost, to restand 2 cards and give them 10k. But he's like, oh, so that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think the deck is good. We definitely draw a ton of cards, but I think that where we lack is, one, sometimes the ability to open up with enough cards to rest by your turn 3. Obviously, you need to see Thavis. And then, are we getting a lot of value out of our attacks? That's it.
I think for me, I would agree with Cardfight King's point, where Lambros, I don't understand why we couldn't have the 2 restand. That, like, visibly hurt. Like, I've had a lot of bad sets with Aquaforce where I've been able to just shrug it off, but that was one where, like, my heart was hurting when, like, the reveal went off, and, like, I had to literally turn it off and just take a break because, like, I wanted to post on the reveals that day on my YouTube channel, and I couldn't, because I was like, I think it's not good. And we did find it with testing later. You guys all know we crunched that shit for like 8 hours to figure out how it worked, and it was good, but, like, it was just so devastating to see Lambros without a double restand, even if it didn't give power. Like, it just didn't feel right. And I am happy with the Thavis wave support because it is fun. It's very fun to play. It feels like we have consistency with Aquaforce. There is some issues where if you don't hit Thavis, it's a problem, but for every extra Thavis you get in your hand, holy crap, do you get an advantage. You get free retire for every single Thavis that's in your hand. So, like, if you grab that with Burgos, holy crap. Like, I've had games where I had 3 Thavis and just get rid of half an opponent's board for free. Like, that's just super free. Exactly. It's so good. Like, yeah. It makes me happy, but at the same time, I look at the clan, and I got into this clan because I loved its identity, and I loved its slogan, and its slogan was that instead of doing a bunch of attacks in big numbers or doing big numbered attacks with only 3 attacks, Aquaforce's thing was it's a bunch of small waves that add up to a big wave, and Aquaforce isn't that anymore. It's just simply swing for big numbers.
Well, okay, in that point, I'm gonna kind of sort of disagree, because, like, yeah, Aquaforce does, have, like, with Lambros, and this is just my testing for, like, since we've known about Thavis and Lambros, like, you're gonna have those first, like, maybe 2 or 3 attacks that are gonna be like, okay, this is barely hitting, you need to guard this or you take a damage. And, like, yes, we have obviously the Lambros column that we want to stand, which normally is like a Coral Assault or a Penguin behind it, or a Stacia, or I'm sorry, not a Stacia, a Narissa behind it, or just something behind it, or Baragios, where it's going to lead to a 35k attack and then a 45k attack. Yeah, we have that. We get that twice. That's great, but we still have all those other little attacks because we have the attacks on the Estelle circles, which will be Narissas mostly for me, whereas 23, then you swing with 23 again, then you have to figure out, okay, do I want to swing with my big column now so that way I can go ahead and do either a Baragios that's on the Excel circle, or I can swing with a Coral Assault so he can swing for 29. Like, we do have big numbers, but we're not going to sit here and just be like, we're not all just big numbers. I don't want people to, like, get that, oh shit, my hat's offline, and get that misconception and thinking like, oh yeah, after this podcast, Aquaforce is just all big numbers. No, we're not. And we still need to think about our plays. And it's like, and I understand completely where you're coming from, because it's like, and I'm sorry I'm going off on a tangent, but it's like, I agree with you. And because that day that they revealed Thalos and Lambros, I had like literally 4 out of the 5 people that are in this podcast right now were there for me for when we were streaming it. And like, you heard the wind just suck straight out of our souls. It was literally like somebody like just like punched us all in the gut as soon as they revealed Lambros. Because I was like, oh, okay, Thalos, he rests stuff. Maybe if we get X amount of cards rested when Lambros attacks or he comes out, then maybe we get certain skills based on that. No, it's just like, it sucks and it hurts, and it's like, it's still good. It's still good. It's still usable. It's still playable. I still use it, but it's just like, it's not where it should be. And I do agree with you. We don't have our clan identity, but we can't do our clan identity before, what we had, which is multi-attacking with the Excel circles. It's not going to be too fair, which is why they didn't want to give us stand triggers in the first place in V era.
I think Lambros' design is very obviously to not play well with restanders, which is why he is designed the way he is. Which, in all fairness, I understand. But then when you like look at other clans with better Lambros clones, it's hard not to feel bitter. But
Sharhat,
like
Night Rose,
Anchor Blader, Night Rose, like, fuck, Night Rose is literally a better version of Lambros. When you think about it.
Yeah.
But there is stuff people can do. Like, a lot of people have been teching the wheel assault, even though I really dislike that line of play. But like the wheel assault, column swapping, stuff like that to get 2 attacks from the restart column. So like, there is ways to kind of get around it, but the 5k power more than anything else, I feel, is the main limiter. I feel like they definitely could have increased that power a little, but then seeing what we're doing with it, how we're making 32k, whatever Lambros is boosted, usually somewhere around like 33k to 38k boosted, with triple drive into a 42k plus column. Like, I'd understand why it's only 5k and why it's not more. So like, I get it. It does suck. That said, though, Maelstrom actually came out of the set looking really good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm very happy about that.
Like, they took all the thinking out of the deck. So don't get me wrong, the deck is fucking brain dead as shit, but it looks very strong. And there is a few nuances, like, for instance, your placement. Your placement is super, super critical with where you're going to put units, especially because when it comes down to where you're going to put the grade 1s, like, you have to have very good unit placement for your columns, because you can gimp yourself later on. And that really, really comes into play when you factor in like Viviana and Bragios, if you do play it, with the grade 1s that they want to run.
I would even say, like, and you can ask Wave Nation this as well. Like, when it comes to Maelstrom, like, it's kind of like, if you don't see like Elpedia or Radiate, it's kind of like, oh well, I might have a trash grade 3 turn, whatever. I don't see Press Stream, it might suck. It's like, it's one of those cards where decks I feel like you do need to open pretty well with to have an effective turn 3, because that seems to be where Standard is, in a sense. I'm just speaking from the Standard mindset right now, but Standard's in right now. But I think I compare Maelstrom to Overlord. And my brother made a really good point about it, where it's like, you don't play the matchup. You basically play solitaire and see if your opponent can stop you from playing solitaire. Because you're going to swing in with one, you're going to stack crits on Maelstrom, you're going to swing in another one, restand Maelstrom, and you're going to swing crits at your opponent, and then throw any triggers onto like your Lancer or Fence or whatever his name is, and then you're going to swing again. And it's literally the same kind of mapped out turn, in a sense, kind of like Overlord is. I'm going to swing at you for three times. Can you stop this and kill me on your turn?
CFK.
No? Cool.
I'm gonna be real with you. Most of Standard is just solitaire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say that.
But especially Maelstrom.
Oh, definitely.
That's why.
Maelstrom is fun solitaire.
That's honestly why I love Shiryuki coming back, because I feel like Shiryuki does have the power to shake up a lot of this monotony.
She's needed.
garbage
She's needed.
in
She
standard.
needs to come back. I can see that. She
Yeah.
needs to come back.
Here's to hoping I'll have an impact versus Gurguit.
Oh,
Anybody
God.
else want to comment on our most recent wave of support, though?
I don't even know if I answered. I like it. Hey, relax. I like it a lot.
Dude liked it too.
Yeah, dude's a big fan of Travis. I like the wave of support. Maelstrom blew me away in the beginning. I was like, wow, this is fucking ridiculously strong for our backup boss, considering that it was supposed to be the budget build, even though Maelstrom was like $700. So our real budget boss is Travis. And then Thavis, like, yeah, it was a letdown on the initial reveal, but I knew that like it was a code that had to be cracked, and we figured it out pretty quickly, and I was very happy with it afterwards. So I like the new support a lot, especially our promo that we're never gonna get. I like that.
Yeah.
I like to add one little thing with the Thavis is like they made us value certain cards that we wouldn't expect to value. So we got Agias, like Zaee had mentioned, it's an awful card on its own, but it's so imperative to Thavis' strategy. Your Thavis can already rest one Rigard, and Agias
Actually,
can
it's the most important card in the deck.
I know, right? And
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. And then also, Narissa becomes an MVP card compared to when it was used in Revon. You know, we ideally wanted to see in Revon just to be resting, so we could have mostly standing units, but Narissa, you can abuse it. You can have it be the attacker, and you can have multiple Narissas, and that's where even Agia shines, where you can rest 2 Narissas, Soul Blast 2, and restand them and get power. So you have like these Excel 2 circles where you have Agias being a 24k hitter, you have Narissa being basically 23, and then the other Narissa being 23, on top of what you already have in your normal field, which where Lambert's restand. So it scales, and it's really just different at that point. And with Premium, it's really cool that we're able to downright back to grade 2 because of those mechanics where you Soul Blast your grade 3, you don't have the grade 3, you have no Vanguard, so you have to write something from Soul. And you can rewrite your grade.
I'm going to be real with you. Testing Premium with Pursuit Assault, like, even if you don't do the ride back play and you just straight up, like, go into Thavis again and get your 3rd Excel marker, you still spank the shit out of them because you're drawing so many free cards early. Like, in Premium, Pursuit Assault is like Nemain turns 1 through 3, and then it just turns into like a fucking 29k beat stick that can get restood by Jumbled and like rest your whole board and let you draw a fuck ton of cards. You can literally draw 4, retire 4 on first stride in that deck because you can get 3 Excel markers by first stride.
Yeah, Genbold's pretty ridiculous. When I did a lot of the early on testing of Thavis Premium, I was just bulldozing through people.
Yeah,
like there's not many decks in Premium that could survive that aggression, because every deck in Premium, like Wave Nation likes to say, like is basically like playing on eggshells. Nobody's trying to deal damage to each other. Everybody's just trying to survive until they can one-shot each other. But the issue then is when you run into something like Thavis, where it's just like, I'm gonna just kill you. It's just like, I guess.
I'm gonna kill you and draw cards at the same time. Good luck.
Yeah. Like you may be a combo deck, but guess what? You have to stride to beat me, and I'm gonna kill you before you stride. So,
dude, like, I literally made this kid's car catch on fire because of how bad I was beating him in the Thavis.
Oh my.
One thing with Jumbo,
I do want to say one.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
The one thing that I appreciate Jumbo was a card that kind of saved us from keeping our tempo. So if we were to downright, or we just had a bad grade 3 turn and we just took a smacking to the face, we can go into Jumbo and actually start like getting our tempo back too, or just accelerate at that point, just like you were saying earlier. Yeah.
I have no idea how I thought that card was fair. But one thing I do want to say, it's something that I haven't actually seen being brought up at all, is with all the support we just recently got, Revon actually got some very significant buffs that nobody really mentions. Like between
Pedarius,
whatever the fuck they changed his name to, him existing,
It's
we're about
Pedarius,
to get the grade 1 that works with Revon that attacks from back row, which you could also use the grade 1 counterblast when he's rested. You can get something else for power on that. Like Revon got so many new toys, it doesn't have to run the Algos package anymore, which is nice because, to be honest, everybody here wanted that card out of the deck. But like, I don't even like Revon, but it got a lot of really good new toys, and it's just like I feel like overall the set was really good to us and what we got, so I can't be upset about that. Like I feel like all three decks got some really good support. You know, Even though we hate Dennis, he's a freaking MVP apparently in Revon.
Mm.
Reasons I don't even need to
I'll,
understand.
I'll say in
Free
premium, bro,
advantage.
Dennis is the fucking boy in premium. I love seeing that card in premium. Standard,
Yeah,
it's whatever. It's like, you don't need to fill your
I
board
hate
like.
it in standard. I hate Dennis and
Yeah, because like, but if you're just grabbing random shit off top deck, but then you go into Jumbled and have a full board, it's free as fuck. Like,
Yep.
love that shit.
They
That's
made
so
a
true.
standard card for premium. Go figure.
Yeah.
Terrific
But,
plus
like-
Tordarius is so good too. In Revon, it's beautiful.
Todarius plus
that's the play.
Dulcia.
That's
Todarius
the
plus
play
Dulcia.
right there,
I'm
boy.
just gonna have some fucking 18k back
Oh
row
yeah,
attack
Dolce's
graveyards.
nasty with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's good. It's good stuff. I am glad
We
that I
gotta
can
talk
finally
list
take
afterwards,
Algos and
though.
Nicolas out. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I need your list, Chase. I need that list. We're gonna cook up some meals. We're gonna cook up some Ravon real quick over here.
Revon's a
God.
bitch. Revon's a
man.
bitch, though. I'm gonna be real.
right
Revon's a
here, but it's not quite there yet. I've almost got it.
I do have a list. I can share it after. While we're on the topic, though, of Revon and Blue Wave support, Valios. What do you guys think or want Valios to do? Even though we all know what he's probably going to do.
11k. I don't want to have to deal with my opponent's triggers because I know then I can plan my strategy and not have to worry about getting it completely destroyed by triggers. We need that 11k
Preach.
immediately. If that's not in standard, I can guarantee you a lot of people are going to seriously consider leaving Aquaforce because that's the make or break for this clan if we don't get that.
Like, what I want it to do is, I don't care if it's Counterblast or Soul Blast, just like Counterblast, Soul Blast, on attack, reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power to your Vanguard's current power, like your Vanguard, not Vanguard plus being boosted, so 12k. So if it's a 13k, it's whatever, or if, drop it to 11, I don't care. And then just lock it there for the rest of the turn. Like, so something similar to that, or just like lock their power down to 12, draw a card. I'll be happy with that.
No, not 12. It has to
My
lock at 11.
It has
It
to
has
be
to power lock
11.
at 11k.
My hope is premium abuse. So if we can place to power lock 11k, premium Blue Wave is going to be really fun. And we have XL too, so we can do Flood Hazard turn, First Stride very consistently. And have cards like Fuebos being on XL2 circles making numbers, so that actually takes 10k cheater values and everything. So
Good old Fuebos.
Jaime, do you remember my one-shot Blue Wave build? Not Fuebos on Excel Circle. You put old Baragios on Excel Circle, and he restands every time you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Baragio. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he swings for 12k. Yeah.
And he actually hits.
That's
Yep.
it. I want him to be. He's going to support Ravon. We all know this ain't no secret. He's going to support Ravon, whether it's as the main Vanguard of the deck or some type of backup. But I just want that power freeze. If you can give us the ability to rest and then get the power freeze, then I think that we will be set to we'll be set with that deck. It will be unbelievable.
I think another thing that was a little overlooked with Valios was his main phase draw skill. I actually like that a lot, and if they bring back something like that, like having main phase draw on Aquaforce is so strong.
I was going to say, both forms of Valios have some form of draw. Like,
Yeah.
you call a card, draw a card.
That would be nice too. Yeah.
I think
So
I
that's...
just hope the deck works though. This is their second chance with Valio. It's the second chance we get. Come on, make them work.
My hope is that he power locks at 11. Like Senpai said, I don't really care the cost as long as he power locks at 11. You already know he has Blue Wave name, so Premium's already looking amazing, even if he's bad, just for his name alone. That aside, I really would like if his ability to draw was rest a card, draw a card, call a card for your hand, or vice versa, call a card for your hand, draw a card.
That I can see.
Something like that. I'd really appreciate that. That way we kind of get the best of both worlds. We still get to utilize Fuebos and Gallios with Valios, because power locked at 11, that means basically no matter what Vanguard it is, because I don't think there's any 11Ks in V. No matter what Vanguard it is, our restanders can restand, and they'll be able to hit.
The bird for Nupatama
Yeah.
is 11.
Yeah, the big
Fuck us
Baton.
up!
Yeah,
Fuck.
okay, so if Nubatama rides the bird, I guess we're screwed. But outside of that, I mean, that'd be pretty nice. And I mean, we're also going to get two other cards. I think Lucianos and Bright Shooter are most likely. candidates for what we'll get.
Dude, I hope we get
Yeah,
Luciano.
okay.
Oh, I want Luciano or
Maybe
Damia.
Valios the VR, and then we have Tetra Drive as the triple R, because that'd be amazing.
I don't want
See?
Tetra Drive as triple R.
I don't know if they give us 2 grade 3s though.
Yeah, we still don't know what's going
Like,
on.
as long as they're both grade 3.
I don't think they give us 2 grade 3s. And even if they did give us 2 grade 3s, we'd probably get Arsenal Fleet before Tetra.
I
Yeah.
can agree with that. It just would be nice.
Could be the
Or
wise
they only can still milk us for Tetra Drive down the line.
I thought it was that we get 3 new cards and
Yeah, 3 new cards and 3 old cards.
right. I
4 old
I
cards.
think that I don't think we're gonna get grades. I think it's gonna be just a grade 1, grade 2.
Grade 1, grade 2,
in
yeah.
VR.
Because you gotta imagine, for all these decks, they have to. A lot of these cards, they need to flesh out decks for. Like Chaos Breaker has nothing to work with, right? So imagine he's gonna get a grade 1 and a grade 2 that's directly gonna be Chaos Breaker support. That's why I'm pretty sure like all these cards are gonna get cards that are like direct plan selection support.
Yeah.
So with the sole exception of stuff like, for instance, Angelica, because Regalia already exists, or like in our case, Blue Wave already exists in a very fucked up fashion. So like some might still work, or like might have pre-existing support, but a lot of these are brand new. Or not brand new, but like new for V.
Right.
I'm definitely excited for Blue Wave and Standard. That's gonna be awesome.
Honestly, I'm more excited for the premium
Same here.
implications, but if it's good enough, I'll play it in Standard.
Same here.
Alright. With that said, we're coming to the close of this. I hope all of you guys have enjoyed watching. And before we go, I want everyone to hit us with a one-liner to sell Aquaforce to everybody.
The wind will blow 4 times.
Oh, no. But does it blow 4 times still?
I don't care. It's Leon. It's the best.
I mean,
Who's
do we
gonna
even
be-
need to hear Clay?
Blow me 4 times. Am I allowed to say that on stream?
Oh god.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
You already know what CFK is going to say, so
Sorry, Sean.
Jaime.
If you love Gloria's nicknames, Aquaforce is the clan for it.
Alright, Black Guy.
Oh, there's 3 of us. Which one are you talking to? So for I guess just now it's just by the sea.
Under the sea.
I'm gonna give Clay the honors of finishing this out. So for me, a one-liner to hit you all to sell Aquaforce is Landy Baby. Alright, CFK.
Aqualight, baby, you already know how it is.
You already know how it is. Oh,
Thanks
shit,
for watching.
That's great.
This is Zaee, your host. You guys gonna
Oh shit! Splish sploosh, Wave Nation.
As always, guys, the wind is blowing.
Who?
Wow. And as always, guys, let the wind blow.
Wow.
This is one who gets crits, Commander Jaime.
Formerly known as Black Eye Senpai. See you guys whenever or wherever.
Formerly known. Jesus Christ. Formerly known. Jesus. You already know what it is. It's the Aqualight, baby. Cardfight King. You know what it is. We out.
Let's erase their memory right before we leave.